Welcome back. I am back on ChatGPT 4, and I'm going to show you some stuff with the code interpreter plugin or add-on that they have here in ChatGPT. So what I'm looking at here, I'm going to show you two things. First, I'm going to show you this right here is from the US Census data, and it is a survey of public employment and payroll. Again, this is employment and payroll data by state and function from March 2022. You can see down here, if we scroll down, here are all the different states, different categories. You have education, libraries, water supply. Looks like we have fire protection, police protection, police persons with the power of arrest, and that kind of thing, right? So we can take, that's all the data right there. And what we can do here, I'm going to close this out because it actually doesn't work quite as well when we don't have it, or when it's open in the background. I've learned that you want to close it out here. So I'm going to go here and grab my file right here. And I'm just going to have ChatGPT tell me what this is. Tell me what this is. So it's going to open it up and try to figure out what it contains. And while it's doing that, I'm going to show you something. Yep. So it's saying that the first rows of the file contain metadata and other non-tabular information. So I go back over here, and let me pull it up in this file again and show you something here, what it's trying to do, because that's actually pretty cool. So if I go all to the top here, scroll all the way up, let's go home. Let's do this here. There we go. Right? You can see that that doesn't really start. The data doesn't really start until here, row 15. Really, it's 12, 13, 14, and 15 are some of the headers, right? So let's go back to ChatGPT and see what it's doing. And you can see what it's doing right here is it went through and tried to figure out why it couldn't understand the data. And little by little, it started to learn what the issues were, how to fix it, how to get better that way. And here we go. So now it's getting all the different things here. It's even manually assigning the column names based on the insights came from the initial file preview. And it's doing kind of the work right here to make it in a way that allows us to pull some insights and do some analysis on here. So now it's going to give a summary of what the columns represent, right? State, government function, full-time employment, coefficient of variation, percentage. It's giving me all the different categories. The same thing as we have right over here going this way. So it interpret the data, right? Because this right here is just cell, 12M or M12 rather, right? But it's realizing that these cells right here is supposed to be read together, and ChatGPT figured that out on its own, which is pretty remarkable that it can do that, right? So now let's do some prompts here. First off, let's kind of play around with here and say, okay, give me some recommendations for analysis if I am a policy analyst with the state of Michigan. I'm going to categorize it this way. That way we can kind of narrow down instead of looking at the whole. We want to look at maybe just Michigan or just some regional stuff there too. So, and it's saying here's some ways we can look at it: employment distribution, payroll analysis, function comparison, variation analysis, trend analysis, policy impact assessment. So you can analyze trends over time, variation, so stuff like that, right? So let me do this. Let me see, recommend 5 visualizations that allows me to compare police government function in the Great Lakes region. Oh, let's see here. Give me a quick error. Let's try that again. I want to see if it knows what the Great Lakes region is, right? So it does, right? Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, and Wisconsin. And so it's first going to do some bar chart of full-time employment, stack bar chart of full-time versus part-time employment, line chart of payroll costs, heat map of coefficient variation, box plot of full-time equivalent employment, and stuff like that, right? So let's do this. Let's do I want a stacked bar chart of, and I'm doing this on purpose again, because I want to see if it recognizes the acronyms, right? FT versus PT employment in the Great Lakes region, right? I want to see if it can interpret that. It should. Normally, ChatGPT kind of understands what you're trying to get at and can parse that together. So I'm just kind of curious what that looks like. So it looks like it's wanting to do that. So this is a pretty powerful tool. The fact that we can just go ahead and look at this, and there we go, right? We have now number of employees. We can see that broken down by state. In a matter of seconds, we took, or if we went straight into this, it would have been a matter of seconds until we went straight from this spreadsheet right here into this chart right here. And now let's do one more and kind of see what that looks like too. So let's say now, what if I am a city manager in, I'll do Alaska. What insights can I get from this data set? So let's see what happens here. What kind of employment, not employment, what insights I might glean specifically for city managers using this data set. So what it's using now, it's saying, okay, maybe you want to do a statewide comparison. Compare your city staffing and payroll figures to the statewide averages, right? That's going to help understand how your city compares to others in the state, or do a statewide comparison, function comparison, employment type analysis, coefficient of variation, and benchmarking, right? That dreaded word. I hate the word benchmarking, but it is a thing that people do, I guess. Don't recommend it. Don't benchmark. Be the benchmark. So let's do this here. Let's do a statewide comparison. So let's say, give me 5 ways to do a statewide comparison analysis as the city manager of, I'm going to do Seward, Alaska. I don't know if Seward has a council manager form of government. For the sake of this video and this exercise, they do. Just so riddle me that for right now. So here's the ways they can do that here. And it's kind of getting away from, it looks like it's getting away a little bit from the data set, which I needed to go back and actually correct that data. So let me go back over here because it's not using this data. Do a statewide comparison analysis using this data set as the city manager of Seward, Alaska. And let's see if that works any better here. So comparison of government functions. Again, it's going back to the same thing. Yep. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to basically compare this right here and have it recommend me a visualization to see this and just see what happens here. So let's go like this here. Let's just paste this in here. Compare the full-time, part-time, full-time equivalent employees in each government function for the state of Alaska. Recommend and create 2 visualizations to help me analyze this info. And let's just see what happens here. Let's see where we go with this. While ChatGPT is working, that just finished working away. But while it's working right here, I want to let you know I've got some exciting things happening here in the near future towards the end of this month. July 24th, we're doing a webinar with CivStart, so hope you can join us there talking about ChatGPT and generative AI. And then also on July 25th, I'm hosting a webinar with SGR, or Strategic Government Resources, where I'm doing a webinar on ChatGPT for city managers. Also, if you are not already listening to the City Manager Unfiltered podcast, I was on there again. Joe Turner invited me back, and I was talking with John Weidel from the city of Whitewater, Wisconsin. So be sure to go check that out. It posts every Wednesday. So go take that a listen, and you'll be very pleasantly pleased by what you hear. I'm sure it's some great content that Joe puts together, and that episode is no different from the rest too, just quality content, even if yours truly was on there. So some exciting things. I'll post a link to all those 3 things, the CivStart webinar, the SGR webinar, and the City Manager Unfiltered podcast. I'll post that in the description below, so please go check that out. And let's see here. We have some great data visualizations here. So it's giving me some bar charts here, or some, yeah, it looks like some horizontal bar charts here, full-time versus part-time employment, full-time equivalent employment for each function in Alaska. And so you can see some great things we could just pull out right here from this data. And it really cleaned up that first part for us pretty seamlessly, which is just a phenomenal tool. So play around with Code Interpreter. Let me know what you think, and let me know how you're using it. And until next time, be well.